Why are they so veiny?
Ew,
They are
now we're live.
pillowy and warm.
And veiny.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to whatever fucking episode of Thinking Outside the Longbox this is.
You just
I know.
said it.
I know, but I just also am high. Today, we are going to be talking about the Hulu original Devs. Came out this year starring Nick Offerman and other people that I like. So
It's pronounced Doves.
it's not pronounced Deuce.
You're pronounced douches. So shut up.
It's not pronounced Doves. You're right.
Loved it.
Devs.
Statistics.
Yeah, Devs is an American science fiction thriller television miniseries created, written, and directed by Alex Garland, and it premiered on March 5th, 2020 on Hulu as part of FX on Hulu. Lily Chan is a software engineer for Amaya, a quantum computing company run by Forrest. Lily soon becomes embroiled in the mysterious death of her boyfriend who died on the first day of his new jobs at Devs. The series explores themes related to free will and determinism as well as Silicon Valley. It received generally positive reviews with critics praising its imagination, acting, and soundtrack.
Positive.
Agreed.
I like how you don't say positive,
Show is
right?
fucking amazing.
Positive?
Yeah, you said it weird.
Did I? Positive?
Yeah, it was bizarre.
Positive.
It has pretty much my favorite TV actor in it, so I was. Well,
Wow.
I mean, he's not Duchovny, but he's really up there.
Check this out. Rotten Tomatoes critic score is an 81%. Thank you, man. And the audience score is a 76%.
Ouch. That hurts to hear.
That's
So-
crazy.
I fucking love this show. That's surprising to me.
So it's taken me a while to get into the show. Like, I definitely had to power my way through the first, probably 2 or 3 episodes. I've only made it to the 6th episode. I am going to finish it because it definitely has captured my, my thought over time and, kind of my imagination. I wish they would have dove into what they're actually doing at Devs a little bit quicker and gotten into the ideas between free will and self-determination and whatnot.
Sorry, my wife's trying to put her vajayjay on video.
Nice. That'll get us taken off YouTube.
Well, just upload it to Pornhub.
I'll blur it out, bro. This isn't live.
There's a bunch of big ideas in this show that I really like thinking about. I just wish they would have gotten to them a little bit faster. Other than that, it's a really good show. Like Doyle, I love Nick Offerman. He's
so fucking good.
Seeing him in this particular dramatic role is beyond impressive. Like, his acting range is fucking off the charts. That is such a cool thing to watch. He is definitely the coolest part of the show to me.
So I will tell you,
wait till you get to the last couple episodes. Nick Offerman shines bright gold, dude.
I
Shines
will tell
bright
you,
like a diamond.
when I didn't know what this was, and you guys offered it up, and I watched the first episode, and I went, Nick Offerman, this is a comedy, and I just kind of put myself in that mindset. I'm hit or miss on him. It just depends on the show that I'm watching. But I think he did, like you, I think he did a really, really good job shifting to something that wasn't comedic, shifting to something that was very dramatic. It was over the top dramatic. I mentioned it the first episode. I think I shot out a message. I was like, is he God? Because it was just the way he spoke. And the way his kind of number 2 spoke to him almost in a she was scared of him kind of way. And I just assumed that that's kind of the road we were going. And by the end, I don't want to spoil it for you, but that's kind of the way he thinks of himself. And so I sent another message. I was like, oh shit, I was partially right. And so I think he did a really good job though in a dramatic role.
he's genuinely the thing that kept me watching through the first 3 episodes. Like the way he presented himself and like the acting that he was doing was a lot more interesting to me than figuring out the background of the Russian boyfriend who gets murdered. You know, like it just that's just the Silicon Valley part of it, which is interesting, but not like seriously gripping. Like the idea of what they're doing in devs and how they're trying to present the world as like predetermined over having, you know, that chaotic free will and that multiverse kind of nature is super fucking fascinating. And like the long segments where like his number 2 is talking to Lily and like kind of explaining the theory behind the devs, fucking on the edge of my seat more than I have been for any action movie in a while. Like it was just super, super cool to listen to. It's a ridiculously well written show.
Did you get to the multiverse episode yet? I mean,
yeah, where the girl creates Jesus's voice and he like loses his fucking shit.
So that episode hit me a little bit because I think of where it's coming from in the character, because I'm a father. You know, we all have fatherly. You know, we're all kind of fatherly in our lives. But I've got a little girl. You know, I don't know that I could imagine how my brain would be if something like that happened. And for him to have such a staunch feeling in his heart that even if one hair was different on his little daughter's body, that it's not her. Like he wants the version of her that he knows and loves from his time. And so the fact that she could change one little thing, the scientist, and it affect, even though it kind of, you know, made everything right in their system, him have such a very deep, you know, like, fuck you, like, get the fuck out of here, fired her kind of reaction, it kind of hit me hard because I'm a father, because it's I don't know, I'm not that smart, and so I don't know that I ever be in that position, but I may feel like that at some point in my life.
What I think is the most interesting about it is about like this specific like idea in the show is the difference between the character that gets yelled at. I think her name is Lauren or something like that. I forget off the top of my head, but
London or something.
Yeah, I forget
right
her
now.
name.
Yeah,
but when she has the conversation with like the older guy that also works in devs, and she talks about how he's not a genius, he's an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
He's not in it to discover something.
Right.
And that's what they're in it for. They're in it to discover that there is something out there that is unexpected. They're researching and studying and trying to find the truth. He's trying to find the answer he wants.
Right.
And that's like a really fucking powerful statement that he's never stepped out of like the denial phase of grief, and as a consequence he's just driven to like not feel that anymore. Like he wants his daughter back, but it has to be his way or it doesn't count. Like he says, he's damned if there was something he could have done different to save his daughter's life, he's damned forever.
Yeah.
great fucking show.
I mean,
I don't know how anyone doesn't hear like what we've said so far and be like, I gotta go watch that.
Oh, you know what's crazy? It's between A History of Violence and watching devs. Like, it's genuinely what I've been thinking about for like the last 2 or 3 days. Like, they both are like dealing with like such interesting and like fundamental issues, like how your past affects your present, and like, do we actually have free will or is everything predetermined? Like, those are fucking huge concepts that we like put into our brains for pop culture's sake. And
Yeah.
sometimes I wonder if like these big ideas are like missed on other people. That's why it's fun to have these conversations with you guys, because you actually think about this shit too.
Yeah, I definitely think you hit the point there. Why everything can't be why in his mind it has to be predetermined. I think that's the point they were making for sure.
Yeah. What I think that's what happens with like part of the critic and the audience score. Like they're lower because just like A History of Violence, there's swaths of this show that are pretty slow. And there's like big ideas that most people probably don't really want to engage with when they're watching regular ass television. Yeah. Like this is like watching an art house movie for like 10 fucking hours, you know?
Pretty much.
That's not something most people do, you know?
I think that's why it's forgivable for me, is because I know I'm going into like an event, like a really long thing. But I think if this was just an hour and a half or 2 or 3 episodes, I would not be as forgivable for those times where it's really slow and they don't really get to where we're going at the end. And that's why I think is the difference between the movie and something like this.
Right. And that makes total sense to me. Like, I completely understand that. I think like just for me personally, I wonder how much of the critics score and the audience score has less to do with like the quality of show that it is and more to do with people going, man, this is kind of a fucked up time in our world. Do we really want to say that it's predetermined or that we somehow caused all of this of our own volition? Like, and those are like big fucking concepts that maybe like 8 months ago people would be a lot more interested in watching a television show about. But right now it's a little, you know, I could see somebody like watching this and then just like fucking having a nervous breakdown over it because there's so much crazy shit happening in the world.
For sure. Yeah, maybe now's not the best time to dive in.
I just for me personally, I don't think that that's a factor because it is what it is. Life is what it is. Shit is what it is. Like I can't change that, but I enjoyed it. It's but I understand where you're coming from. I get it.
Yeah.
Sad, you know, people who are like, fuck life, and then you got to come in here and you got to hear like, fuck, my kid died. Like they're hard things to deal with. So I understand that.
Yeah, and I'm not saying for us, because obviously it sounds like we're all really enjoying the show or enjoyed the show. I just mean like those audience and critic scores, sometimes they can be really skewed by like I think we saw that when we watched Harlem Nights. Harlem Nights is a really good fucking movie. Like it's a lot of fun to watch. Like I don't think there's anything wrong with the pacing. It wasn't really a bad movie. But the scores that it has are like off the charts low. Like, and that's really weird to me. Like at the time, apparently people just didn't find anything about it good when really it's a halfway decent movie.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's those people that were like me at first, you know, who were like, Nick Offerman, awesome, this is going to be funny. And then they're like, what the fuck?
This is not funny. This is not is funny that dude setting himself on fucking fire? Like,
what is with the giant baby doll?
Oh, right. Oh man, I
daughter.
questioned that. I know, I questioned that for at least like 4 episodes though. Like, what the fuck is going on with that?
What is with these weird mirror pillars in the woods? Why do the trees have halos? Like they're gonna be like, first episode to somebody who's just diving in for shit's sake is gonna be like, what the fuck?
And I think sometimes it might suffer a little bit from like the science fiction like technological gobbledygook that maybe doesn't actually mean anything, but it sounds like super smart. Like there's definitely some of that going on in this show where you're like, those are bullshit nonsense words, guys.
They're just making things up now.
Yeah. This fiction's not real.
Your mama. No, it was. I don't know.
Not the reaction I was expecting.
I'm not sure why I did that, but yeah. Overall, though, I think the show is definitely worth watching.
Right. So let's go around. We started with Doyle last time. This time with Juan. What do you rate this show?
I'm gonna give this 1.5 thumbs up. I like Offerman. He's probably like you said earlier, he's probably the shining star in the whole series because you really, I mean, for the most part, it's either we're on him or we're on the other girl. And you know, there are some other big names in the show, but nobody else really gets a ton of attention aside from those two. And I think Nick Offerman did a really good job.
Yeah.
Notice how none of us really talked about the main character. She's really just not that interesting.
She's just along for the ride, I think. I think she's just there to puzzle find, to figure out what's going on, and to kind of progress forward.
And then every couple episodes, they put her in a wife beater and panties. Just like,
for me, she's not really interesting until like the very last 2 episodes. Otherwise, she's just like a story. Like, here's something. We'll get back to that later, though. Like,
I think
that's kind of what she does.
I think what's interesting about her character is I feel like she's supposed to be the stand-in for you. Like, it's you wondering what the fuck is happening, not understanding, having to have somebody walk you through step by step and explain, like, this really gigantic idea. Like, she's the catalyst for exposition, but because she's there and a catalyst for exposition, it doesn't seem like they're just telling you these are the things that are going on. It's a conversation between 2 characters as opposed to, like, a monologue from, like, a narrator or something. Like, yeah. I think that's the purpose. I think that's the purpose she serves, and as a consequence, she's very nondescript because she's just supposed to be the person experiencing it from the outside, like, which is pretty cool.
I like how they never really decide to try to do anything different. They just tell you it's all predetermined. But at no point in the show do they attempt to do something differently. They just go with the flow.
Well, he yelled at her.
Don't ever disprove it. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He yelled at the girl who tried the thing, right? Well, tried the different approach. I'm talking about the main characters. Like, Hoffman never decides, like, maybe I should just try to tell my bodyguard not to fucking be a crazy bastard.
I think he's afraid of that choice.
He is. Yes, because the other characters, I don't know why they are though.
Well, in my opinion, the mistress, his number 2, is afraid of him, and so because he asked her, why don't you look into the future, or do you know what it is, or blah blah blah, and she goes, well, what if I just cross my arms instead of doing this? And he kind of scolds her about it, and I just think that the people around him are fucking scared of him because he'll light your ass on fire.
I mean, and what's interesting about his character is there's no room for something different. Like, he refuses to allow that to happen around him.
I agree that his character is that way, and I see what you're saying, but I think if the other option is the potential for the universe ending, like, I might give it a shot. Like,
fuck it, do it anyway.
On the way to work that morning, I might be like, let's stop at Starbucks. Just let's see. He'll never know, and the universe might not explode.
Well, on that universe-saving Starbucks run, I don't think we went all the way around. Tim, what do you give this?
2 thumbs way the fuck up. The thing that actually captured me the most about this show, besides the story, was actually the visuals. How everything looked aesthetically was amazing to me. It all felt very Kubrick, like 2001 Space Odyssey.
Yes, except done after the year 2001, so the graphics are good.
Yeah. Basically. That was kind of the vibe I got, and that really took me. Plus, I was stoned for every episode. Really makes it...
Yeah, I think that might be why I've liked the last 3 episodes more than the first 3 episodes.
I definitely gave it two twice-baked grilled cheeses.
I had to think about where that was coming from for a little bit.
Oh, man.
I will say that this week's topics were very, very visual. You know, they were very artsy, whatever we were watching. I think it kind of just ended up being that way.
Art house.
Yes.
Definitely. Like, especially, like, I don't think I talked about it, but how Channel Zero will pan away from like what awful thing is happening into somebody's reaction and then pan back to the awful thing that's over, and you just hear what's happening, so your brain gets to like develop whatever is going on. Like Channel Zero was crazy well filmed. History of Violence is a pretty visually stunning movie, and this show is pretty cool. Like I really enjoy it. Like I said, it took me a little
get to people eating other things.
Yeah, it took me a while to get into it.
Season 2 of Channel Zero.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
I definitely am excited to finish Devs now. I think I only have like an episode and a half to go, so I'm digging it. It's good.
The show is like totally paced the exact same way until the last episode where like all shit breaks loose. And then once it breaks loose, you're like, it's not that much shit. All of a sudden, it just turns into the first.
Anticipating.
It turns into the first episode of Parks and Rec.
like the end of Breaking Bad turning into Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah.
Oh, awful movie, awful show. I mean,
which one?
Malcolm in the Middle.
Breaking Malcolm.
You're crazy. Malcolm. They're both really good shows. So.
Yeah.
Anyway.
A long time.
On that note, Juan hates Malcolm in the Middle. He said it here first.
I do. I'll say it again.
Be sure to check us out. TOTLB.com. You can also find us on Patreon at patreon.com/TOTLB. Don't know that we're making a whole lot of friends with the Malcolm in the Middle heat, but that does not matter very much to me. Did I go away?
No.
No, okay.
I'm just saying, who's going to hate us over Malcolm in the Middle? I don't mind Frankie.
They won't hate us. They'll hate
us. Probably Frankie will not be such a fan.
You guys just talking.
I like Frankie because he's weird and funny.
Annoying. And I really should just finish this part of it, but I don't want to.
Everybody hates Chris is like a black version of Malcolm.
You know that you can't go through this without getting talked over.
Gabe, now you're disappearing into the darkness, Gabe.
You're on speakers for just a second. Let me finish this bullshit. Be sure to call us at 970-573-6148. I think that's right. The Michael Kirk Memorial Hotline. He loves midgets. He's fucking dead.
We gotta make a shirt. He loves midgets and he's fucking dead.
You know what's good?
The man, the myth, the legend.
I bet you 98% of our listeners have no idea who Michael Kirk is.
I know, that's the best part about
goddamn
it.
clue.
With that said, I've been Gabe.
I'm Tim.
I'm Doyle.
I'm Juan.
Even Mike doesn't know who he is anymore.
Bye.